Rosalinda, can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Chile?
I grew up without my father. He left my mother when I was about 4 years old. And my mother has to work as a maid in the capital of Chile, Santiago. So I grew up with my grandmother and my uncle in the countryside, in a village. That was my youth until I was 18. I got good memories from that time. It was very sad, very poor life. I didn't study much because in those times the people didn't go to school for a long time. I actually I was one of the unfortunate person because I went to the first year in the secondary school, and that's helped me a lot in that time. So I was very educated for that time. But at the age of 13, I had to start working full time because the condition of the country, the poverty and everything. But I have a really good life. I remember all my friends in that time. We played soccer on the street, and we grew up together until 18, fighting on the street, getting friends again. I think they helped me a lot because I experienced to hate people and to love the same person. So helped me in life until today. I rely on those times when that happened to me.
So what part of Chile do you come from, Rosalinda?
It's called El Monte. It's a small town about 40K from the capital, Santiago. At the age of 18, I moved to Santiago because my mother, in that time, she had a hairdresser salon and she wanted to pick it up the children. We were four, three boys and one girl. I was the third one of the family. My mother went to school to study hairdressing, and then she put her own hairdresser salon, and she wanted to recover the children. So she insists us to go to Santiago, and at the age of 18, nearly 19 years old, I went to Santiago. I moved to there, and I was 2 weeks without work, and I was boring like anything in Santiago because I grew up in a village with all my friends, all the people. I really like it, I really love it. But I started working 2 weeks later in a handbag factory in Chile because I didn't have enough education, so I couldn't pretend to go anything better. So I became to be a leather cutter. After a while, I learned to cut leather, which was the maximum, the highest thing in that factory. And I worked in 13 years in that place. And my wife, sister was working in that place. That's how I met my wife, Pat, and we gonna be married for 50 years next year. Still today, I remember very much my childhood. My childhood was important to me, and it doesn't keep the connection with my country. All the time I spent in the village, my grandmother, my uncle, and all those kids, poor kids, but we grew up together, experienced the same thing, and this is the connection I got in this time with Chile. After that, I don't think I really had any other connection.
Explain what the village looks like.
During the day, it was fantastic, beautiful place, and it was a river, the Mapocho River. It was crossing very close to where I live, and it was a lot of crowd and the long road to the village, and it was the hacienda. We call it the hacienda by El Fundo San Miguel. It's called Fundo San Miguel, which is the hacienda of San Miguel. And they were the owners of the whole thing, los patrones, and it was around, say, 12 houses, more or less 12, 15 houses, no more. We see the workers working mainly in the how you call it, putting the potato, maize, beans, and everything. But I was started working in a chicken farm. we collecting about 20,000 eggs a day, and then put it in selection machine in the, to select the extra first and second. I worked in 5 years in that thing before I go into Santiago. I got good memories of those people, but all the time follow me the injustice of the poor people, because I saw so much difference. Even when the patrones, the bosses, they were okay. They loved them. Still, it was so much difference. I was a rebel from the very early age in my life. I was very, I couldn't understand why it was so much difference, and I saw the poverty. The people didn't have not even food to eat, and also it was one of the main problems in that village. It was the drinking. The people get drunk every weekend, so it didn't help at all to get out of. So it's a vicious circle of the people.
So when you went to Santiago and you worked in the leather factory, did you carry any of that kind of political feeling with you?
Yeah. I think so. When I started working in the factory, it was a very nice people there, a few guys, and I didn't realize after they start to coming to me, because I was an educated person, as I said before. For those time, I got the first, the first year in the secondary school. I was very educated, and maybe I was, because my bringing it was like that. You had to respect, you had to be educated, blah blah blah, all those things, and I was, and they come to me and say, why don't you join the party? What party? The Communist Party. Communist Party. It was Socialist Party, Communist Party, Radical Party, Liberal Party. It was party for everybody there in that country. And the people appear me to be really nice people. And I say, no, really, I don't want it. So they start to inviting me to a barbecue. On Saturday, we play soccer there in that time, and then going to the barbecue. And they appear to me really nice people. And I say, why not? Why not join the... perhaps it was a mistake, but it went with my condition of I was a sort of rebel in the situation, in the country, things like that. They start to educate me, give me articles from the newspaper. You read this, you read that. But I read in that time everything. I reckon my education, it was that because I was reading anything. The Old Testament, the Bible, whatever it came to my hands, I read it. I got hungry to read things, and that's helped me a lot so whatever they give to me, I read it, and I keep in reading I remember I read the Reader Digest, which was article from America against the communists, and I loved the book. So I don't know what happened to me, but I really like it. So to me, it helped me a lot to understand the human being later. It doesn't matter to me if it is right, left, in the center. I understand exactly nowadays. I have no problem with the people. I have no problem. And if the people got problem with me, I can help it. This is me, And as I said, I joined the party, and I mainly in that time what we're doing, it was to fight for the petition. We call the petition el pliego de peticiones, petition, where we're asking to the boss, we need the higher wages, better condition in the factory, and I was the representative of the workers in that time. They chose me to be the representative. That helped me a lot, because I did respect my boss, and the boss respect me. Later in life, when the political situation in Chile changed so much, helped me a lot, because my boss put a good word on me, because he knew me for 13 years, and I think he signed me in that time to go to the military. Took me, and he told me that
So that was around, what, 1973, wasn't it, when Pinochet came?
Yeah, Pinochet made a coup d'etat in 1973. So, 9/11. It is the first 9/11 we got it. Pinochet took it over the country, and it was a mess. The most dangerous things happen. The family turn against you. That's the thing. I couldn't understand that thing because the people is changing. Everybody wishes your friend yesterday, and the next day they is not your friend because they keep you away from you. They say you are don't touch, don't talk to me because our record is the danger you represent because you are in the left wing or whatever. That's the thing keep me away from Chile. We went back only once in nearly 40 years. We went back to my country with my wife and my youngest son. That thing is hurt you so much because not so much the military, but the family we see change it. And later on they don't remember. They said, yeah, but it was the time, in that time it was everything was difficult, everything was different. I got friends in the party because we meet a few, because the thing started before. When Pinochet took the right-wing party, the left-wing party, it was a mess. The country was a mess. So everybody is like they were preparing for something. And when I meet the people, those people, they were in charge of the party, and I couldn't do anything because I just went there, listened to people. But to be honest, I never hear they going to get arms or fighting. We can't fight against the soldiers. This is not on. So, but I never hear that thing. In that time, I got 2 kids already, and they went to I knew the boss talked to me. He said, Ernesto, because they call me Ernesto, which is my second name, Rosalindo Ernesto. I never use Rosalindo in Chile because Rosalindo is a peasant name. So I didn't want to be a peasant, but I was a peasant. I grew up in the countryside. Ernesto said it is very dangerous. You are in trouble because be careful in what you do. Please be careful in what you do. So I went to the factory. I went home to the factory, home. I used to play soccer on Saturday afternoon, and that's the only thing I do. And playing soccer and going home. I didn't even go to the pub with the guys because after the soccer game, everybody going to the restaurant over there and have a few beer. And I just keeping. I always was a good boy. They didn't need to tell me, please don't get involved in anything, but it followed me because I did belong to the left wing party, and I couldn't do anything about, So I've been told the military went to the factory, talked to the boss, what happened with me because they wanted to take me to interrogation, and he said no, you don't take him, and so he told me that, and my neighbors in the house, they said you got a sort of vigilance. They follow you when you go into the factory. When you come in from the factory, they follow you. And I said, what? They had to follow me for I don't know for how long because I always do the same thing. Until I had enough, I couldn't live like that because people start to disappearing. Friends of mine, they disappear and they find they dead. So that's when you're thinking. Just care for your family. I didn't know if I'm going to find my wife and my children in home when I'm coming from the factory. She didn't know if I'm gonna come in the afternoon or they're gonna grab me. We decided to try to get out of the country. A lot of people they were doing that in that time in different ways. Some people went to Argentina and from the United Church, and they told me you can do this. I didn't want to leave my family. Say if I leave this country, I'm gonna be with my family. Otherwise, I'm gonna stay with my family here. Fortunately, the Australian embassy was there. So I went there and I told them, they said, fill it up this paper, bring it straight away. And I filled it up the paper and I didn't bring it. I didn't take it to the embassy. I keep it the paper because I never thought to leave the country. To me, it was an honor. And then we hear one of the general is coming with the troop to restore the order, and so I was waiting for that. Nearly a month later, I took that form they give it to me, and they say, I'm sorry, this is too late. Now you have to fill it up this other form. And that form, it took me 1 year in Chile to get the acceptance, a medical examination, this and that, different things. And it was awful.
So for that year, you must have been terribly anxious, were you?
Oh, I was eating the Valium in this. I was walking, I had to eat Valium to keep in walking because I was so nervous, and it was amazing. 1 year I was like this. And plus I have an accident playing soccer. They broke my nose here because one of the guys went with the elbow here, and I was in the hospital for a while. They call traumatismo encefálico, whatever in Spanish. I don't know how they call it in a concussion or whatever they call it in English. So the two things together made me, 1 year it was awful. That year, I never forget that year. As I said, I had to take the Valium from the pocket and eating there, just to keep in walking. The people there in the Australian embassy, she said, you're going to take you quote, the dollar quote you got to travel? I said, no. Okay, yes, you do. He said, I'm going to give you because I had the chance to bring $3,000 from Chile in that time. We were allowed. If we can buy the dollars and say, I'm going to give you the money, you're going to go to the bank, you buy the dollars, and you bring it to me. And I'm going to give you some money to you. I said, okay. To me, everything was new. I didn't know anything about those things. So one day I went there. They gave me, the little brief with the money there. I went to the bank, put me some money. I went to the embassy, and the lady working in the Australian embassy there picked up the money, and she gave me $70 to me. That was the $70 I brought to Australia. And I was happy. Because I have $70. Nowadays, when I thinking in that time, it was wrong, but they did it a lot. They did a lot in that time because I hear later on from some other people they did the same. But how it is.
So how much did you hand over to get $70?
About 3,000 American dollar. I almost bought the whole amount of dollars we were entitled to get it. And then this is your commission, $70. Thank you so much. $70 sounds to be a lot. And so I don't know what kind of business they got, but it was their business, and I didn't know anything about. Thanks to that, I came to Australia with $70, with 2 kids and a wife. A friend of mine, he was involved with one of the police department in Chile. He was a friend of mine. He said, they're going to arrest you. When you're going to do all the documentation, they're going to get you. Don't worry about that Chico. He called me Chico, which is Shorty. Chico, they're going to get you. And I was scared every time I going to do anything, and you had to do a lot of the passport and this paper and another one, a lot of documentation you need to get out of the country. Nothing happened, so I was alright until the airport in Chile. We were waiting with my wife for the bus to come to pick it up. My wife and my 2 kids and myself. It was a few other people. When I hear from the speaker, they called 3 people, and among them it was Ernesto Cerda going to international police, which was there in that place. So I went. The other two, they went before me, so they got them into inside the building, the small building, and he said to me, "It's no room there, so I'm going to interview you here, outside." It was a big guy, very big guy, and he said to me, "You are not allowed to leave the country because you are accused of robbery." And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Tell me your life in the last few years, your life in Chile." Well, I was working 13 years in this handbag manufacturing. I was working there, and then I left there, and I worked 3 months. The last 3 months, I was doing a job with my brother, my younger brother. I was working because he got better money there, and I thought I'm gonna get better money here, so I need it. No, he said, you are not allowed to leave the country. And I turning around, and the bus coming to pick it up the people to the airplane, and I tell my wife, "Please go, you just go." And she stood there with a kid. And after a while, the bus gone and come back, and he said he swearing on me. He swearing. I can't say it. I can't say what he said, but he was a bad swearing about your mother, And then he said, "You can go, but never come back to this country." And I said, "Thank you very much, sir." And that was the farewell of my.
So, how did you feel when you got on the plane?
Numb. I was numb. Sorry.
That's okay. Did you want us to stop for a bit?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I've been through many times to this experience, and we went to Peru. The plane stopped in Peru. We stood 3 days in Peru, in the Sheraton Hotel, which was everything paid. I don't know who paid for it, but somebody did. Probably the airline, he done it, and then coming to Australia. When we were flying on Sydney in Australia, when we arrived, and I looked through the window, it was so wonderful. I said to my wife, and I did promise to the people there in the airport, to my mother, to my mother-in-law, to everybody, we're going to stay 2 years in Australia, and we're going to go back. We're coming back. And when I was flying there and I saw that beauty, and I said to my wife, "I'm never going to move up from this country. It's too beautiful." And actually, that's happened, we went only once for holiday. It wasn't a holiday. It was my uncle. He was very sick, and they say they're going to die, and he was my father to me.
So when you came to Australia, what happened to your family back in Chile?
Well, they stood there, all of them, except my youngest brother. He wanted to come to Australia, and we filled up the application for him to come here. For 3 times he was refused, and so he decided to go to Venezuela instead, because he couldn't come to Australia. That was the idea. And unfortunately, past 35 years, I didn't see my brother until when I got my 70-year-old birthday. He came down with his wife and spent 1 month here in Australia with us, here in Franston, and it was very nice to see him again. And I supposed to go for his 70th year to Venezuela. Unfortunately, I having second thought, because Venezuela is not a very safe country at the moment, and so I don't know. Probably I'm not gonna go. His birthday is in December, 10th of December this year, so I had to decide very quick if I'm gonna go or not. So the rest of the family, my brother, my oldest brother, and my sister stood in Chile, and they're all right. Everybody's all right in my family. And my wife, he got a 7 brothers and sisters. There are 7 altogether, plus another 4 from her father, another 4 kids. So there were 11 kids altogether. Some of them, they already passed away, but most of them, they are in Chile. I didn't speak English. Everybody was laughing. Even the taxi driver brought us from the airport. In that time when we arrived here, I said, "Do you speak English?" The only thing I can say is yes, and I love you. He laughed. He laughed about that, but it was true. We didn't speak English, but it was a good decision, and we didn't know what we're going to find here in this country. And fortunately, in that time, the people were really good. They give us where to live, where to stay. We came to the Eastbridge Hostel in Nanawari, where we spent more than a year. We didn't want to get out of there. And at the end, they kicked you out. They said, "You gotta go somewhere." And so we went to the Housing Commission in Richmond. And previously, I was helping some other Chilean to move to the Housing Commission, and I really like it. It's a nice apartment there, and better than I was not used to see the kind in Chile. We live it completely differently, so I really love it. So we applied for the Housing Commission, we got it, and we moved it to Richmond. We stood nearly 7 years in the Housing Commission. I really wanted to work, and I didn't prepare myself for the new language. And I went because through the close to the hostel where we arrived in Nanawari, it was a few factories around. So I went to a few factories. I asking the people, work, but I didn't speak English. I said work is the only word I am, and they started talking to me, and I didn't know what they were saying to me. And for sure, maybe they would offer me a job, but it was no communication. And I went back, and I went to another one for 2 weeks until somebody got a job for us in a factory, in a big factory, metal manufacturing, Lysac. I never pronounced properly the names in English, Lysac, and I worked there for 7 months. I got a two shift work. When I worked in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. I spent 2 hours learning English, because I went through a very bad experience in the beginning when I came here. My older son, he was 9 years old. He was playing in the monkey bar and he fell down and had a concussion. So a friend of mine helping me to take him to the Box Hill Hospital. And I thought, because he was already 1 year in Australia, I thought he speak English, and he didn't. And so we stood there, and the doctor took my son into the room and left him to sleep. But in my country, when you had a concussion, you don't let the people sleep, because it was the belief in that time you die while you're sleeping. So I was jumping into the room, waking up my son. They took me out of the room, and they explained me, but I didn't. And I told my friend, "Please explain to them what happened." But he didn't speak English. He was looking at me, looking at the doctor, and it was awful. We spent 7 hours in the hospital until they called an interpreter. The interpreter in Spanish tried to explain me, you gotta allow him to sleep because he's gonna recover. And that was awful. So I decided, no, tomorrow I'm going to the school and I'm gonna learn English. And I done every day 2 hours of school for a long time. I did the intensive course. I did write English. I read and write English before I spoke, because the speaking is the last things you do, especially from Spanish to to English. It was very hard. It was hard in the beginning. I said to me, when the first day I went to the factory and I said good morning to the guy, I learned English. I said, good morning, how are you? And get out, how are you going? I went back to the teacher and the teacher said, you teach me wrong. She said, no, you're going to learn in the future. Yeah, I did. Because they say we have to teach you the proper English in the school. I got a lot of friends. We tried to create the groups because everybody was suffering from the same thing. You lose the family, you miss your family, and you are alone. So you are alone in a different environment, especially the language. You don't understand, the language. We got a couple of beautiful stories about the people who get lost here in the city. It's funny now, but in that time it wasn't funny at all. Because this guy was lost in the city, called to the interpreter in the hostel, say, I'm in the city, I don't know where to go. And she said, where are you? Tell me in what street you are, I don't know. Read because there's the name of the street in the corner there. I go back to the phone and say, I'm in the corner, I'm not standing with no parking. Today it's very funny, but in that time it was awful. It happened a lot of things. And we tried to create the group and find out it was a Chilean club. The Chilean club, we tried to be connected with the Chilean club, but unfortunately the politics follow us here to Australia, because the Chilean club, it was created, but the Chilean who ran away from Allende 3 years before. In 1970, when Allende won there, a lot of people, they left the country because the communists come into the country. And the Chilean club, it was created, founded by these people, the ones who ran away from Allende. So we went there, and it came in a lot of people, crazy left-wing people, unbelievable. I think I was one in the middle, tried to control them, but they didn't to hear anything about the right wing. And so it was, after a while, the people who found the club, they had to leave the club. And so I didn't go to the Chilean club. I got a lot of friends, but I didn't go to the Chilean club. So we create a different group, especially when we moved into Richmond. In Richmond, we start to going around, because in that time they were trying to found a community center. It wasn't a community center in North Richmond in that time. And it was a couple of one English and a couple of Australian. They speak English, all of them, so I didn't know if they were Irish, because after I realized I got an Irish family and, things like that, all very good people. So we created the Chilean community in Richmond. It was 110 family, Spanish family living in all that area, in Richmond, Collingwood, and Fitzroy. So altogether it was around 110 families. It was a lot of people. So we make a lot of good things there for the community, and we make the Spanish school for the kids, so they can keep the Spanish, because they're going to learn English anyway in the school. So we believe it was important to keep the language. We made a lot of party to get the money. We didn't get any grant in that time. In those times, there were no grants from the government. So we make parties and whatever to raise money to pay the teachers. And I was the president there for 6 years of the Spanish community. I was working they took me in the board of management there. I did it just because it was the president of I went to all the meetings there, but I couldn't make any input. I learned to drive a bus. I took the heavy to take the people to the camping. We went to Doxa, Anglesey, Torquay, a lot of camping, a lot of single mother, and a lot of unemployment people were there. Very rough people in the Housing Commission in Richmond. It got a very bad reputation in that time. But to me, they were all friends. Especially I drive the bus. So I became a very good friend with them. I didn't care. We're going to the pub to drink a couple of beer with them. So we speak the same language.
Now, there is one thing that you've got a great passion for, and that's tennis.
Actually, I never played tennis in Chile. I never done it. I think I was 35 years old when we went in one of those camps, and one of the doctor, it was in the trip. It was a doctor from the community center, and he said, Ross, say, do you want to play tennis with me? I don't know. Come with me. I need somebody who pass me the ball. So he gave me a racket. He put me on the other side of the court, and the rest is history. And then we moved into after the Richmond Commission. We bought a house in Ivanhoe, very old house. Everybody say, why you buy this rubbish? But it was the only thing we could afford in that time. And we did it because we were living in the 10th floor in the Commission flat in Richmond. And I wanted my kid to play tennis. I already knew how to hit the ball. I went to the club in Ivanhoe, San Bernard, the tennis club, because it was only a couple of blocks from where we live. Got a 4 tennis court there, and belonged to the church, to the Catholic church. And it was a lot of good people there. But we experienced what you experience in the beginning when you come in here. Ivanhoe, it was a poachy area, and I was Chilean, black, shorty, no blonde. And they just simply, they ignore me. But it didn't matter because I just wanted to put my kid there, and I paid the fee I had to pay, so I was one. It took a while for them to start. It was funny because the day I decided not to talk to them anymore, they started talking to me. And I told them after, when becoming very good friends, I told them, I said, yes, Ross, but now we accept you, man. That's how it is. And my kid, all of them, they play tennis, especially the oldest one. He's still keeping playing. He lives here in Franston, and he's playing still. He's going to be 50, my son, going to be 50. He's fit, keeping playing tennis. He got his daughter, my granddaughter, playing tennis. So it's continue the thing. I love it. It's because this relationship you have with other people, doesn't matter the language, you are doing something together, that was the thing I remember, and I got really good friends there. It's amazing who good people is in this country, but you gotta open. You have to open yourself to find it. So you allow them to know you, and you know them. That's my experience in those 24 years in Ivanhoe playing tennis, and I never regret it. And I stopped to playing tennis about 2 years ago because I started playing in Franston, and it's a younger people there. It's a heart attack every game. It's a heart attack. So I said, better stop it because I know it's not for me. I couldn't find a team where these all veterans, all people. They're all good now. They're too good for me. We got the redundancy in the factory where I was working in Sabyara. It was Bisonte. Bisonte is a name. It's a leather garments manufacturer. It was a big one, good one, top quality stuff. I worked 24 years with those people. But at the end, they decided to go to China because that was the trend. So they give the redundancy to everybody. And I said to them, it's all right, we leave, we had no option. He wanted me to continue working with him, but in sort of, I don't know, casual whatever, casual part-time or whatever they call it. And I said, no, you give me the redundancy, I'm going. still I was a rebel, you know, I still keeping in my mind that thing. If you suck me, you suck me. What you can't be half suck, you know, you gotta go. So my wife was working there, so we lived. We spent a few time in Ivanhoe, and my son bought a house here in Franston, GS area. Because the girls, the granddaughter, we had to travel here a lot to look after the girls because both of them they working, so they got a lot of the kindergarten and all those stuff and things like that. I said, don't worry, we're going there. So we're traveling from there, we see more than an hour from Ivanhoe to here, and then going back, keeping doing that. And because we didn't have a job, I said, okay, we're going to sell the house here and we're going to move to France. And it's all right, we did that, and to be close to the grandchildren, because we were looking after for them. Everybody was happy. Even I was happy. It took me a while to get used to this house because I didn't belong to here. And then nowadays I can say the only regret I got to come here, not to come earlier, because it's fantastic. Franston is a beautiful city, got the sea there, it's a good area to live, not a problem. That was the reason why we coming here, and we done it, you know. We've been involved with a few groups. We try all my life. I've been trying to be in touch with people to help and get help, because I don't want to be alone. That's the problem I got. I don't want to be alone. So I try to get involved with people, and here in this city is a lot of good people who want to do a lot of things for especially with the pensioner, you know, the people who are alone in their home, that they haven't got anybody, because the children grow up, grandchildren grow up, and they got better things to do than be around the old people.
We've spoken about your experience as a migrant, but do you think there is a common experience that all migrants have?
Yeah, yes, it is. And some migrant, they take it in different ways, many ways to take it, the migration, because we're going to different experience anyway. But I find out is more or less the thing is inside you. It's inside you, what you're expecting when you come in, because we made the move. They didn't ask you to come here, and you made the move, and you can't forget that things. And you're gonna find, and when you find things like discrimination, racism, things like that, I find it is. We are all racist. We are in one way. Some people are more racist than the other, and in some stage we feel things like that. But you gotta take it like it's a few reasons for that. The language, you can communicate it. They leave you alone. You know, and you feel bad because they leave you alone. There is no communication. The color, if they say you short, you dark, or we can say black nowadays, but it's in those times they said it. Some people they hurt, but you are. That you are. So you have to accept it, the thing. And the other thing is, why you made the move to come to this country? You did it because you is seeking a better life for you and your family, and you get it. It is here. The only thing you have to work and sacrifice a bit, try to learn the language. So I would say it is more than 70% is up to the person, to the migrant, to the person who made the move. And you gotta realize you are in a different country, different culture, completely. So try to adapt, you know, try to adapt it to it. And still nobody gonna take your culture from you, because it's going with you. Your language is going with you. All those things. But it's in your mind. It's the people. That's what I would like to tell to the migrant. If I can help them, in some way, I will say, look inside you, why you move here? As I said before, they didn't invite you, they didn't call you. You try to come here. What you expecting? If the thing is, you don't find what you expect, fight for it. Go for it. Study a bit more. Move with the people. No. See, I like the Greeks, I like the Italian, but I always criticize them because they got into the ghetto. I've been working in this country for nearly 40 years, and I'm working with Italian, I'm working with Greek, I'm working with those people, and I criticize them. They like me, and I like them, but I tell the truth. I told them, you go home, you stay here, you among your community, is very comfortable. You speak your language, you eat your food, and all this stuff is comfortable. But we are in Australia, man. We are in Australia here, the people speak English here. It's different culture. Don't be sorry for your culture. It's wonderful. Greek culture is wonderful. Italian culture is wonderful. Middle East culture is wonderful. South American culture is better. But I'm sorry about that. But it's be happy. Be happy. Try to adapt yourself where you are. So that's when we realize you're happy here in this country. That's the main thing. That's the aim. Your family, of course, they're gonna go through a lot of things. The kids learn English very quick. They find friends very quick. They play footy. They play cricket. We want them to play soccer, but because that's our sport. But what can you do? That's the sport they're playing here.
So, you were saying earlier that you can understand the experiences of all migrants who've been through a traumatic situation where they had to leave the country.
You fear for your life. You fear you don't fear for your life, because I didn't. I was fear for the life of my wife and my kid. That's the thing is moving you to do the extreme move, because I understand exactly what's going on with these people, with the situation around the world at the moment, because it's not only in Australia, but this happened around the world. I understand them. I can't even watch television because it's made me so sad. But I do understand what happened to them. We went through the whole thing. The migrant situation is a very tricky one. But my experience, I tell you, that's what I think about my experience as a migrant, and be around too many migrants. Many migrants, because in the hostel in Nanawari, where nobody speaks English. So I saw all what they think, what they're doing. So I got a big experience with migrants. And then in the Housing Commission, to be the bridge between the migrant and the Aussies one. They always criticize, but they are unemployment, they are lazy bugger, they are here. They always find things to separate say, hey man, we can have a good day together. It doesn't matter what they doing. You working or you not working, we are human beings. I got one experience I would like to tell you if you got time. We created a soccer team in the Housing Commission in Richmond. And it was a few Irish boys. We becoming very, very friendly with them. Russell, Kevin, and Richard. They were most of the time unemployment. Russell got a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful kids, and they play soccer with us. We go into the ground, play soccer, and then going to the pub, have a few beer, play billiards. We do our job, but we live in. After we leave the Richmond, I left Richmond. A few years later, I went back to see some guy, and we went to the pub, to the Old Nation Hotel in Richmond. And Russell came down. I didn't recognize him. He was all but got a mark in his face, no teeth. He said, "Why you left? Why you left?" He went to jail because he had nothing to do. No soccer, no friends. Oh, jeez. It was awful to see that. And I feel guilty, but we made the move. We had to move. But it was nothing. And the case of Russell, it was a few others, they didn't know what to do. And Russell came down and said it. Why you left? That's a sad story about the scene. When you create things for the community and moving, you get, of course you get tired to do things, but you gotta pass into some other people to continue. The funny thing, I was working with Jewish people in Chile, 13 years. I come to Australia working with Jewish people, about 3 different people, Jewish. They never did anything to me. Looks very normal people, very good people, very kind. So whatever they teach me or whatever I read in the articles about these people, it didn't eventuate. So it was, nowadays I say, I got a few Muslim friends. My son, the one is in Perth, is married to a Muslim girl. He has to convert. He doesn't follow the thing. But so you gotta be an open mind as a human being. To me, I change my mind about everything. Still, I consider myself as a socialist person because all my belief is there, But I try to find out your opinion. I mean your opinion, the opinion of the right wing. What they said. I would like to talk to them, and I listen to them. If they convince me, and I can put my arguments, they can put their arguments, but in a good way. So that's a. I think Australia gave you that opportunity to mature with no war, with no persecution, nobody follow you to torture or anything. It's the only thing if you are a Collingwood supporter, but but it's things like that, Sometimes I criticize this country because they don't show very much what's going on. It's all cricket, footy, things like that. And sometimes I said, goody, it's good that happened because your mind is not revolting too much, and not involving too much in other things. Thinking about what happened to us, as I said before, I remember my young life together with my friends still there in my memory. I playing soccer with them, still I playing soccer with them sometimes. And I remember my family, the river, the channel, those trees, the wonderful tree we got, the one I used to jump. And all that life, the beautiful girls, because all girls are beautiful, and all that life. Coming to Australia, coming to Santiago, to the capital where I met my wife, and the people up there. I done a lot of things, which is I don't regret. If I have to choose again to do it, I think I'll do exactly the same. I will do exactly the same, because I don't know any other way. It's like when I cut the leather jacket. I always cut it as much perfect as I can, because it's the same time you use to cut a rubbish thing as to cut a beautiful thing. And when I see the leather jacket on the window, or somebody is wearing it, I cut the jacket, it looks so good. A small thing, for some people maybe, hey, this guy is a bit cuckoo, but that's the way I feel. I want to do it. If I do something, I want to do it properly. And that's it, because I do it properly. I thought I do it properly. And to go to bed and thinking I did the right thing, I can sleep. I have no regret, I'm not going against myself in nothing, I try to do the right thing. I never use my mind to say I want to fix this guy or I want to fix this. No, it doesn't pass to my mind. I'm happy to be here in this country. I'm happy to be in Frampton. I met a lot of good people, got a lot of good intention to do things, and I'm going to be there with them in whatever they do, helping as much as I can.